Yep. Hello, welcome to Burn the Ship, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming back, checking us out. This podcast is built to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We've had a lot of fun doing it. We've had a lot of really, really cool guests. And we really enjoy talking to people that have kind of walked the walk and talked the talk as far as small business goes and experienced all of those challenges. And we hope to kind of pull some of those skills and traits from you that helped you be successful. We kind of want to pass that on to the next generation of entrepreneurs. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your business, my friend? I appreciate you coming first.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. My name's Adam Silverberg. I'm a owner and co-founder of the Nest Kennesaw. That's what we're here to talk about today. We got some other things in the fire that we might get to later today, but I think talking about the Nest would be the most productive.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we started that place back in 2016. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun story, but it's got a lot of twists and turns. Wasn't by design for me. I think a lot of entrepreneurs will tell you that they just knew they had to work, and they kind of find what they want to find. But I mean, who hasn't had the dream of opening a bar and having their friends over to the restaurant, or maybe that's such a common dream, and it was something my wife and I both wanted to do. Actually, my wife wanted to open a coffee shop and an antique store, like in an old house. And the Nest is built into 1880 homes, so I got that part right. But it's a beer and barbecue joint. But I was actually, believe it or not, the silent partner when this whole thing started. My first career was in commercial printing and graphic design. I did that for almost 20 years, and while I was doing that on the side, I basically the beer joint that I was the best customer at and the barbecue joint that I was the best customer at were looking to, start a place. And I played my money pretty well and saved up money, and I always knew I wanted to go into business for myself. So that opportunity came around. They needed another investor, and I had the marketing and the printing background, and it just made sense at the time. So I signed on. I was a silent partner. Things go as they go. There were 6 of us when that thing started. We are down to 2. So I was the silent partner, minority partner, and now it's me and my dear friend and business partner Dale Hughes. And it's really, in many ways, it's a dream come true. Stressful. I mean,
sure.
That's a challenging thing for anybody in this position. You don't always know where your paycheck's coming from.
That's for sure.
And I think especially for men, I'm sure there's women that would say it too, but like, we put so much of our value in that number on the paycheck, right? And it's like that's your trophy, and you have to learn to not live that way. I'm not a W-2 guy anymore. It's like I look terrible on paper. I'm sure a lot of people will say that are in my shoes, but we have real assets. We have a business. There's a cash flow over there. The people that you get to meet doing what I do makes all that stress worth it, man.
Right.
It's just fun. It's just fun.
Sure.
I mean, it's so I made a lot more money in my previous career, a lot more cash, that's for sure. But since I made the full-time switch, man, my blood pressure's gone down, my weight's gone down. Just like so many parts of my life are just better.
Sure.
But you have to kind of make that cultural switch where it's like I don't need to chase that check.
Sure.
And let's go do it. But I don't know if there's a secret to it. People ask me that all the time. Like, how'd you get it going? It's like, I don't know. You just swing. You just swing, and you get good at falling down.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell down 15 times today.
Sure.
And I think I'm running to a brick wall as fast as you can. Just go as fast as you can and see what happens.
Sure.
I don't know. You guys cuss on this show?
Yeah. Okay, whatever you want. Whatever you
so
want.
I'd use a joke. I pull it from a song. It's like on my tombstone, it's going to say, "At least I fucking tried."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know where you want to go with it from there, man. I can talk about anything.
So tell me a story. I'm interested in the twists and turns, right? Because I think the intricacies are everything. Because like you said, the idea of opening a bar or a restaurant or something like that with people that you're close to is a dream that I think everyone aspires to at some point. You watch one episode of How I Met Your Mother and you're into it. You know what I mean? So tell me what it's like, really what it's like kind of behind the scenes. Like what are you stressing about? What is making that partnership dwindle down? What are you responsible for? Like I'm just curious as to kind of what those obstacles have been over time.
So you guys the book The E-Myth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about being a technician or a manager, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been a benefit for me is I'm not a technician. I don't cook. I'm not a bartender. So I had partners that had that skill set when we first opened, but now they've moved on. So it's kind of forced me to develop those C-level skills where I'm watching the numbers. I watch my percentages. I live in data now. which I mean, I'm an old musician, you know, I'm an old redneck from Stone Mountain, right? And here I am living in data. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And that's the skill that I think I've developed the fastest out of necessity.
Yeah.
So if you're not watching that data, if you're just beating your chest because you got the bar, you're going to fail.
Sure.
Or if you open the bar to chase skirts, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And it's you got to watch those numbers. And so many people don't understand that. And I think a lot of people go into this business thinking they're going to make a lot of money. You might. You might, but the stats on small business are crazy. You know them better than I do, probably.
I do.
But
I know them well.
They're 100 times worse than the restaurant business. Anybody else? I mean, it's like what did I hear? The average profit margin for a restaurant is 3%.
Yeah,
3.
Yeah.
So, but those are the people who aren't paying attention. But
yeah, some of the most successful restaurants in the world operate on like a 12 to 14% profit margin.
Right. Chick-fil-A's up there somewhere. Crazy. Yeah. And you know that's our goal, and I think we'll get there. But So you gotta, like any other business, the hardest part's the people. So you gotta find people that you can trust. You gotta let your people fail, and you gotta let yourself fail. But I think the most important thing for me has probably been my wife. I mean,
really?
She's had to tolerate this crap for a long time, and
yeah.
I mean, that ain't easy to put up with.
No, yeah. No. I mean, I think we've all heard those stories.
Yeah,
you know, we have all heard those stories.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm in a bar.
Yeah.
You know, I have to work late sometimes. When money gets tight at the business, it gets tight at home.
Yeah.
So I can't. Just the ability to have that kind of support at home has been huge. And you know, obviously she's the centerpiece of it, but it's the rest of our family, our friends, and just being able to. I call it having a couch, right? You know, if shit hits the fan, you got a couch. That's key. So I think we lose sight of that blessing a lot. Not being, you know, we do some work with Must Ministries,
sure.
And I've gotten to meet those people there and the people that are in those programs. The difference between one of their, you know, people in their program and me is a couch.
Yeah.
They didn't have a friend in the area. They didn't have a family member or something like that. Man, I don't think I answered your question. I just got to talking.
No.
Yeah.
You're talking around it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking close to it.
And I guess there is no secret. It's just throw yourself in it, man. If you want, run into that brick wall just as fast as you can.
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
You're gonna miss 1,000 times.
Sure.
Those are, everybody's got those quotes. The Wayne Gretzky quote, all that. You know.
Yeah.
You miss all the 100% shots you don't take. It's either Wayne Gretzky or Michael Scott. I can't remember.
Yeah. All right, I'll phrase it to you this way, right? I know the shots that Wayne Gretzky missed, and I know I've seen the videos of all the Michael Jordan's missed game winners, right? What are the misses in the restaurant industry? Like where can you fall? What is it that people don't do well that makes it so difficult? Why are the stats what they are?
Wow, that's a really good question. So, I mentioned data, of course. Concept development and how it ties to your demographic. So you can have, look at, and I'll tell you, we make a mistake every day. The two biggest geek crowds in food and beverage are craft beer and barbecue. And for some reason, we open up a restaurant that goes after both of them.
Yeah.
So everybody's got a preconceived notion. So that was a mistake, and I pay for it every single day. We're making it work, but there are plenty of days when I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done barbecue.
Right.
What am I doing trying to compete in the barbecue
Food's
market?
fucking awesome, though. I'll tell you.
Well, thank you. And man, did we fall flat on our face sometimes, though. But it's, you know, the term "inspect what you expect."
Yeah.
I think that's probably the first failure point I learned. So you can't just expect that the people you hire are doing their job right.
Right.
You got to go in there and get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And make sure it's there. But
do you think a lot of people in the industry have a hard time being in the?
They get stuck. They get stuck in the kitchen.
Yeah,
they get stuck with the bar, and then they can't work on the business. So that's true of any industry, I think. You
Yeah.
get stuck being a technician, and then of course undercapitalization, not having enough money when you start.
Sure.
That we've been lucky there. Even through COVID, somehow we managed to pull this off. But that's always something that people just don't expect, especially with their construction costs and your training costs and all that product coming in. You know, there's not a lot of credit lines that get extended from food vendors and alcohol vendors. That doesn't really happen.
Sure.
You're paying cash for everything.
Oh yeah.
So you got to be ready for that. And then, good Lord, I should have gone into refrigeration. I need a refrigeration guy every day. There's just something breaking, and
especially in the Southeast, man. Golly.
Yeah, I mean, we're in those 2 homes that were built in 1880. We restored them. People ask me about that all the time. I don't know if I'd ever do that again. I probably could have torn them down and built 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great. They have character. I'm so proud that we put something in that downtown district that's not another accountant or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a place. It's a place of community. I'm really happy that we did that. But it's just the challenges of getting that building and keeping that building maintained, along with just the challenges of a restaurant in general. It's like, what are you doing? It's like another underperforming employee.
I will say this: it feels different.
Yeah,
when you go there, it feels really different. And it's cool, especially when you sit outside.
Yeah, and that's been a challenge. 65% of our seating is outdoors.
Yeah.
We've had to adjust for that through the years. In Georgia, it's the heat.
Yeah.
That's we get what, maybe 6 weeks a year where it's too cold to sit outside.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And any given day during those weeks can be warm enough.
Right, right. So that it's the heat that's the problem. And so July this year was rough. July was hot. Yeah. And you just can't adjust to that. And
Monday was crazy.
Yeah. So we opened with way too many things on our menu. We opened without a POS that had been tested.
Really?
We opened without. We had a lot of really good ideas, and just we kind of dropped the ball on the follow through. And I got to own that just as much as anybody else. I wasn't an operating partner at the time,
right?
But I kind of learned some lessons there. Did you have a hard time
being silent?
They actually called me the not so silent partner. I mean, it's just I'm asking questions.
I remember you told me that on the phone now.
Yeah. So, that's where you kind of learn that trust. I had partners, and they are dear friends of mine. These guys that I'm not even in business with them anymore. Brandon King, who owns Stout Brothers.
Oh yeah.
He helped me open the Nest. And,
really?
Yeah. We went different ways professionally, but I loads of respect for him and what he's done with his business and what I learned from him.
Wow.
But we just had a lot of things working against us. Ebony and Ivory was the barbecue company that was with us at the time. That was Victor Amato, Chef Victor Amato, who he passed last. God, has it been a year now?
Damn.
Yeah, that's just a tragedy for everybody. Really genuine guy, but he again, really really good technician, shitty manager.
Yeah,
and just couldn't pull that together. And so that's me now. So because I'm not the technician, because I can't step in and cook, and I can't step in and make a great old fashioned, like that's not me. Managing. So it's good. I don't have that. You talk about burning the ship.
Yeah,
I'm running a business that I can't operate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to hire well. I have to train well. I have to pay attention.
That's for sure. All right, I'm going to ask you the same question from a different standpoint.
Right, you're still trying to get me an answer to the question.
No. You answered it that time. I want to know about the craft beer world.
All right.
Right. All right. I want to tell you something that I learned recently. Right. So I've got a buddy of mine that owns a brewery in Dallas, Buck and Goat. Maybe.
Yeah. Great cream ale.
Oh yeah.
Great cream ale.
Yeah, man. Jake. They do a good job.
Yeah.
And I learned. So they're going through like the whole process of just learning about options beyond brewing, right? And we're having a casual conversation, and he says, do you know what you're buying when you buy Kirkland liquor? And I said, yeah, like we all know what we're buying. We're buying like the same shit that's in Tito's and the same shit that's in whatever, and that's what's in the bottle, and it's just white labeled for Kirkland. They sell it cheaper. And he was like, kinda. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean kinda? All right, and this is what I learned, and you'll probably be able to correct me like specifically, because honestly, I heard this from Jay after the fact, which doesn't exactly articulate the numbers perfectly after being at the brewery and hearing it. But it's like you can take like a whole fucking truckload of like well liquor and pour basically a fucking handle of name brand liquor in it and call it made with this vodka.
Yeah, and vodka's like I think I'm not the expert, but vodka is like the worst example of that.
Yeah.
Where like all vodka's the same. Like sometimes it gets filtered differently.
Yeah.
But it's all marketing. Yeah.
And I think all of them are like that. I think that you're like what they're selling to you is like spiced rum, and what they're selling to you is bourbon, and they're saying made with all these other things is not exactly that. And so I want to know a little bit about the distillery world. Like, what is actually going on? I want to know
brewery
about
word would be better for me.
Yeah.
Distillery, I know some about.
The craft beer world, I'm genuinely curious about too.
Yeah. So Beer connoisseurs are full of shit.
Really?
And I'm telling you that as a beer connoisseur. Over the years, just on late nights or with customers around, we'll do blind taste tests. You know, line up. Somebody will be like, okay, that's my favorite beer on the board.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, all right, it's an IPA. I'm going to pour 5 IPAs for you. One of them's going to be your favorite. And you tell me what your favorite is. I've never seen somebody get it right. Really? Ever. And more often than not, they pick something that they thought they would hate that was their favorite. So beer folks are just full of crap, and I love them. I'm sorry to all my friends out there that think they're beer lovers, but you know,
your brain's just more powerful than the beer. That's what I've come to realize.
But you know what's weird? Because wine,
whatever you think about it, is like
like the wine folks, like they're pretty sharp.
Yeah,
so I've
seen people be pretty sharp about that.
Yeah, but I haven't seen those people that are real sharp with the beer end of things. But I think consistency problems through the year with the smaller breweries has hurt that. Yeah. I mean, it's when you're a small manufacturer, that's custom manufacturing. So that's what they're doing. For sure. You know, it's like and you're dealing with environmental factors on those ingredients, and it's just a slight little variation. So the guys who do it really, really well are the guys who can make that Kolsch perfectly every time. Or, I mean, look at what Creature does with Tropicalia. I mean, that used to be a white whale that if you didn't know somebody, you couldn't get it. Now it's on the end cap at Kroger. Yeah, for sure. I mean, but it tastes the same wherever you have it, anywhere you go. I mean, and that's, I mean, you know, you got to think there's some Six Sigma stuff in there, some really core manufacturing stuff. Yeah. So I don't I don't know Bucking Goat very well. We've had their product on tap a few times. I've been out to their brewery. What I think is interesting with craft brew right now is how the tap room is everything. Yeah. The distribution is often just marketing for the tap room. Yeah, for sure. I know there's exceptions to that, but I mean, Reformation is the best example. Yeah, I mean, they have mastered the art of the environment and the experience, and you see their product at the store, you may not buy it, but you know what? You've probably been to their brewery. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know how they operate without food, or not. Reformation has food sources, but those places that open up without a food component, I think are making a mistake. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I think the Buck and Goat was one of those places where, and I don't really know about the rule for Reformation or anything like that, but I think when you introduce the food aspect of it, and it's not just like a brewery or something like that, isn't there like a percentage amount of food that you have to sell versus alcohol? And it's I use lawyers for that crap. Yeah, it's It changes between municipalities, and it changes days of the week. I think when they build in the food truck model, where they get themselves set up for that, I think that solves a lot of those problems because it's two different businesses. Yeah, that's what I think too. But it's, you know what you're getting with alcohol is alcohol. Yeah, I mean, food is everything. Yeah, for sure. It's, I mean, 75%, sometimes 70% of my business is food. Do you make more money off of food or beer? I would think that you make more money off of beer. From a percentage standpoint, yes. Oh, okay. But most of my sales are food. Yeah. And it's like, you know, there's all kinds of crazy statistics that if somebody can have a meal, they're going to have a third drink. Yeah. If they don't have a meal, they're going to leave. Yeah. And then it's, you know, food doesn't require age verification. Food doesn't require any sort of special licensing. I mean, you got the health department, but you got that anyway. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, when things go down, all of a sudden, if something goes wrong and my liquor license gets delayed for a couple of months, I'm still in business because I can sell food. Do you sell liquor? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Yeah. We're full bar. Oh, beer, cool. Wine, liquor. I even got coffee on tap. Oh, really? Yeah. I'm a fan of all of those things. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. I'm always curious about the restaurant world in general because I know it's so competition is not the same though. You know what I mean? I feel like the competition is not the same. I just feel like the environment is everything. Like if you can create something that people want to keep going back to, the experience is everything. It's kind of just like this. Like I was just showing you the studio's getting renovated and everything. It's not going to change what this is. It's going to change the way it feels. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing that I've seen in the restaurant industry is I go where I enjoy going. Like my wife is a picky eater, not as far as like picky only eats a few things, but as like I only eat one or two things from each place because I know what they make best. Right? Sure. I don't give a fuck. I don't care at all. If it's filling to me, it's cool with me. We're not going to Ruth's Chris. We're going to the bar. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and so she's like, yeah, I'm only eating nachos because the chips come out of the bag and the cheese is good. I don't want a hamburger here. I'm like, whatever. Okay, fine. Whatever. I didn't come for that anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm just, that really is what it's hard for me to wrap my mind around is like, how do you make that experience? What goes through your mind, you know, especially from that graphic design background when you're like formulating day one of your restaurant, what is that experience going to be? So we try to put it through what we call veto proof. So it's like, have you designed a concept and experience that's veto proof? You've got that one person that's picky eater, you got that one person that's a vegetarian, the one person that's gluten free, the one person that doesn't drink beer. You got a TV on the wall? So, you know, if there's one game on and that one person at that party won't go anywhere, we can't watch the game. You got to have those little things where you can appease those people. But you also have to just accept the fact that you can't be all things to all people.
That's for sure.
And when you try to be, you fall down hard.
Sure.
So it's when I'm having a bad day.
You also picked the most two niche things that you could possibly.
Pizza might be worse.
Yeah, maybe,
pizza might be worse. We talk about that sometimes, but I don't know. Barbecue, especially in the South, it's just and we have a good product, but man, is it easy to mess up barbecue too?
Yeah,
you can get it wrong. And so many people make it at home. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody be like, you know, my husband makes these really good. He can come in and show you guys. I'm like, thanks, and I'm glad you like your.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot different when you're making 3 racks of ribs for a party.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to make 200, they got to last for the week.
Yeah.
It's like, and you can't predict your business point to have them coming off the smoker at the right time every time. You're reheating meat. I mean, it's just, that's what you're doing.
Does he do that on his big green egg?
Yeah. I think that's a unique part of the restaurant business. I mean, I know everybody's face to face with their customer, but our customer experiences are public. I mean, it's when somebody has a bad time, they're going to tell the world about it.
Yeah,
and
that's a fact.
Yeah,
Yelp is a powerful thing.
Yeah,
and Reddit is crazy.
Yeah, and then often, and then often won't even give you a chance to respond. I try to reach out, and anybody listening, if you've given me a bad review and there's somebody responding, it's me responding. It's not some guy. It's like I'm reaching out to you because I want to see what happened. And my thing is how did we let you get out of the building?
Yeah.
It's like I have accepted the fact that we're going to get some things wrong.
Yeah.
But how did we let you leave the building and not get it fixed? And I think COVID made it worse. We're all introverts at heart.
Yeah.
COVID really made us introverts. Nobody likes conflict.
Smile your way through a bad meal and leave a bad review. That's
so now
up.
I'm trying to train people. Be like, hey, you got to look at the plate. Did they eat all of that thing?
Yeah.
It's like, did they move this stuff around? Like, you got to look for those signs. So,
Yeah.
like, honestly, the best place to see how food's going is stand in the dish pit. See how much food is going into the trash.
Yeah.
And then you can see what's going on. Otherwise, you just see the reviews, and people will. And, you know, there are people out there that are just trying to get free food.
That's true.
But it's. I mean, good Lord, you're talking about people's livelihoods. I mean, you're not reviewing McDonald's or Walmart. Like, they don't care.
And they would never.
Okay, there's plenty of McDonald's franchisees out there who probably give a huge, but as a corporation, there's like, whatever, pay your rent. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
we're a real estate company.
Yeah, but I mean, you start blasting us, and it's like, my kid needs braces.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, the restaurant industry is a crazy thing, man, and it's just so crazy to look at the stats and look at how well some of the people that do it really well do it. You know what I mean? Because I've got some friends that do it really, really well. Like they picked their thing and they stuck to their thing and they invested in their thing and they do their thing full fucking speed.
You know, Dave Thomas had this thing where he would say when he was having a bad day, he'd go to Wendy's and order a cheeseburger. And the way he got his cheeseburger was weird. It was like Midwestern stuff, you know. It's like just mustard and onions. I'm like, all right, but you know, it's not my thing. But yeah,
mustard and onions is crazy.
He's like, I'd go get a double cheeseburger with mustard and onions and pickles or whatever we got on it. And as long as we could make that, I knew we were going to be okay. I do that now too. So when I'm having a bad day, I'm like, just bring me a pork sandwich and some coleslaw.
Yeah.
It's like, if I can make that, all right, I can do this.
Yeah.
But keep it simple, stupid. It's like, it's like, get that menu pared down. It's like, I need to be the king of draft beer.
That's a big thing that I've realized too, is like, because we go through that all night ordering thing, the point of sale implementation with the restaurants and stuff like that. And it's always a pain, but we do a pretty good job just because we know we have to do it well. Like, that's something that you can't miss on day one. You know what I mean? Yeah. The presentation of your guys' food is awesome.
I'm glad to hear that.
And there's only like fucking, how many things you got on the menu?
More than you think. But it's all built around some central proteins. I mean, we got 3 central proteins.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all built around that.
Yeah, you just kind of build your own you want. It's
awesome. Recently I discovered that there was 24 ways to order a salad at the Nest.
Really?
And I was like, why is this a thing? And so we axed that. And
now there's 5 of them.
There's 2. You can still order those other ones. We're a barbecue place, but you don't want to be veto proof. You need that salad. But ours, you can also get a really unhealthy salad. It's fried chicken and all that kind of stuff on it. And I recently went through I do it about once a quarter, but I did a big one where I just went and analyzed all of our menus and all of our pricing and looked at data. And a lot of people don't say this, but we dropped our prices. We went through and did it. And it started when I did a lunch menu. And I had this thing where I wanted the people in our neighborhood to be able to come and have lunch at the Nest for $10 or less. Like, you needed to be able to do that. Like, and that's okay. I'm going to take a hit. That's fine. But like, we need to be in the community. We need to be neighborly. I need people sitting at these tables. So come on. And so we did that. And all of a sudden, our lunch business just started going like crazy. So good that people stopped coming at dinner time because it was a better deal at lunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So going back to my data comments, like, you got to see that, and you got to adjust.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
we merged the lunch menu pricing into it's all day long.
Yeah.
And it's like same things. We dialed everything down, and you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. Those protein prices are crazy. Lettuce prices are crazy. But you gotta keep up with it, and that's tricky because some of the best chefs on the planet don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah.
And so getting those guys on board for those things is a challenge.
For sure.
But that's the ball game.
Dude, we've seen people implementing POSs for restaurants with 200 plus items. And
by the time you had all the
SKUs for every
modifiers
items,
and all that kind of stuff, and
it's just fucking too much for people, man.
yeah,
If you got to flip the page, and you're not like a fine establishment, you probably got too much on your menu.
yeah, and then
Like if you have 2 pages separately, not just like a front and a back, and you're not fucking, fish time.
or what's the Cheesecake Factory? It's like 32 pages, something crazy like
That's
that.
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
There's 2 items a page. Like,
Yeah. Of course, we do get kind of funky with our descriptions, so it makes things look.
Yeah.
But it's a joke.
Yeah,
so
for
you got to
sure.
read it. It's kind of part of our
entertaining.
charm.
It's the experience.
That was our problem when we had to shut down after our first week in business.
Why?
Because we got the shit kicked out of us. Our POS system couldn't handle it. We had too much stuff in the kitchen.
What did you use first?
Clover?
Really?
Yeah. And since this is being recorded, I'll stop and I won't blast them. But
No,
but,
that's cool.
Yeah, I will never use Clover again.
Really? What do you use now? Toast?
We used Toast. We used Aloha for a number of years.
Really?
For the bulk of our existence was Aloha. We've been on Toast for about a year. Great Toast reps in the area, great Toast support in the area, and Toast has just wall-to-wall integrations. Sometimes you get a little nervous when you've got that company that's kind of the everything company, too many things, and hey, I can use a Nest bun, too many eggs in one basket. But they're doing it well. They do everything from POS to financial products now.
Yeah.
It's the full thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, trust me. They're a
Dude, it's like they drove around with like a Toast food truck selling it out like to everybody in town.
dude. They do a good job, man.
Yeah.
It just travel because it's really one of the really really good products in our industry. Honestly, really is. We have some good products too, but man, Toast is just both from a hardware perspective, a service perspective, and a software perspective. It's really good.
Well, and from my chair, it's how does it integrate with your financial data on the back end? And that drives how you set up your POS system. And so that is, you were talking about having to flip pages. I got 48 taps on the wall, and most of them have at least 2 different sizes. Some of them have 3 different sizes you can get it. So sometimes a beer is 3 buttons. So there can be 150 buttons for our beer. And you pull that up for the first time, and it's
shocks you, yeah.
But it's like we had to do it that way so that our back end financial stuff would record the sales correctly.
Yeah.
Like they wanted, like, well, can't you just make it little modifiers? And no, you got to really think the whole thing through to make sure you're getting your data right. I mean, I need to be able to tell you how many 16 ounces of that beer I sold. I need to tell you how many ribs I sold yesterday. I need to know. So sometimes I feel like there's a disconnect between that user screen and QuickBooks.
For sure.
But it's getting better. It's getting better.
That's QuickBooks' fault.
Man.
Everybody, I promise
Yeah.
you this, everybody in my industry wants to be QuickBooks' best friend.
Yeah.
We all know
Everybody
everybody
uses
uses
them.
it.
Yeah.
And we all want to be friends with it, and we all want to give you our data, and you hear it correctly. But they're like, no. It's like everyone in my industry speaks English, and they speak into it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. We don't even actually understand what you're saying. We only understand into it.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole show just talking about software. I mean, it's when I was in commercial printing, obviously that's software huge, and I was involved when I was in printing. The print on demand stuff where you could do your own crap online was kind of just getting going, and I remember working with the web developers and the programmers trying to build those things as the graphic designer and the pre-press guy. I mean, it's like totally different languages.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's given me an interesting tool set now because like I've been through those integrations in separate industries, and it's like I'm not scared of software.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how many times you have to touch it. I think the biggest mistake people make when they're doing POS changes or any software change, well, there's two. One is they think it's going to behave like the thing they used before.
Yeah, right.
And two, they think it's going to do everything.
No.
And neither one of those are true.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You know what really blows me away about it, right? Is both of those things I feel like most people understand if you were to ask them the question.
Yeah.
Right? If you asked them the question, do you think this is going to be able to do everything? They would say no, probably not. And you said, do you think this is going to work exactly like the last one you had? They would say, no, why would it? It's a different thing. You know what I mean? But that really is the assumption that people have.
And they jump to
going
confirmation
into
bias. Like they have that in their head, and then the second it breaks, they're like, see, I told you it doesn't work.
Yeah. And then my industry sets really bad fucking examples and expectations for everyone.
Yeah.
Like in general. Even Toast does it sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like you set the expectation intentionally or inadvertently that you're going to be able to go.
Yeah.
And man, it just doesn't work like that. We're not there yet.
Well, the word integration gets thrown around a little too quick.
Yeah, because it's not. There's a difference between integration and a data sync and an import and export method.
And I'll tell you, automation is great.
Yeah.
Automation is gold.
Yeah, until it doesn't work for a long period of time.
Well, it can blind you.
Yeah.
And so I like the stopped automation. Like you have to. I like that you have to sometimes push a button to pull your data over because that forces your manager to take a minute and look at it. I like that kind of stuff. Like automatic stuff just creates laziness.
Yeah.
I know there's probably stuff that's happening behind the scenes of that software that I know nothing about that is automatic. But
yeah,
those things when we change gears, it's just
like your payroll's one of them.
Yeah.
You don't want to go do minute by minute.
No, hey, Toast does payroll now.
Yeah, they do. They'll give you. Oh yeah, trust me. I can tell you all the things they'll do. They'll do your payroll, employee tracking. They'll give you a fucking loan.
Yeah, oh yeah,
give you a loan in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah. It's super. It's a convenient way to get cash fast,
and it's a really good deal.
It is
because it's such a good. And I hate to say that. I'm gonna edit this shit out. Actually,
yeah.
It's such a good deal though. It's such a good fucking.
Well,
deal.
and I don't know. So we. Do you know the guy in the area? Do you know the Toast rep in the area?
No.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's
Toast. I am this. I am that to Toast.
Yeah.
Toast. I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I want to sell your shit. I want to have clients on it. I want to support it myself. I want to learn all the things.
Yeah.
No, we only speak fucking our own processing.
Yeah.
Hey,
so after their IPO, which I guess is about 3 years ago now.
Yeah, a little before COVID, 2019.
Yeah.
Maybe.
For a couple of years there, they were just giving their shit away.
You ever use hot sauce? Or ever heard of hot sauce?
Yeah, we use it at a sister brand called Gabriel's.
Really?
Yeah,
I know the guy that built hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm not plugged into operations over there on a regular basis. I think it's changed, but it's been
maybe they got acquired. I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy in a while, but so it's a funny story. Like I started this like 7 years ago in the credit card processing industry.
Yeah.
And I went to a conference with Chris. Actually, I got rear-ended on the way home from this conference.
Just like credit card processing.
Yeah, it's similar. But I went to this conference with Chris in Atlanta, and it was like some fucking payments conference. You can imagine how goddamn exciting it was, right? Yeah. And I had probably been in payments for like 3 weeks, right? Like knew nothing, essentially nothing about payments really. And I understood what interchange meant and some of the really basic stuff, and like I was really working on the sales side of the game. You know, you learn the industry when people ask you, well, what about this? And then you have to go call your boss and ask the question, right? And so
sales.
I went to this conference, and Chris was like, hey, man, walked up to this guy, and I shook his hand, trying to put my best sales foot forward and, you know, show him that I'm not afraid to talk to people, whatever. And so this guy's, I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I built a POS. And I was like, well, did you build it for Priority? That's who we use for processing. He's like, no, I kind of built it on my own. I use a lot Priority for a lot of the processing for my clients. But that's cool, man. And that was like, you know, first 3 or 4 months of him actually having hardware. You know what I mean? Like he had like less than 30 clients probably, right? And then I meet him again like 2 years later. He has like 200 clients. And then I meet him again like 2 years later after that, probably 4 years into the industry. And he's like, yeah, man, I understand. I really don't have time to talk to you right now. Like I have like 1,000 clients and we're about to fucking, they wanted to do that same thing as Toast, but I think they got acquired. I think they got bought and kept their name. But Yeah, I met that guy, and I watched him literally grow that POS brand and stress himself out and work 90 hours a week until he exited for 4 years. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Pretty cool. I kept up with him on LinkedIn. I still keep up with him on LinkedIn. He's a nice guy. Nice guy.
What do you think about this trend moving the processing to the consumer?
As a processor, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, if you ask the majority of my industry are going to say, yeah, it's super cool because in theory, if you pass it on to your customer, you don't really care what you pay for credit card processing, and we can stack basis on basis points and rates on rates. But like in April, right? Visa said if you're charging your customer more than 3%, we're not going to allow people to pay the Visa, right? Like you're mandated. We're shutting it off.
Yeah.
Every merchant network has to charge a surcharge of less than 3% or 3% or less, right? And that was different because a lot of people are at 3.5% and 4%, you know what I mean? And so I just think slowly they're going to keep cranking it down. They're going to keep cranking down anything that dissuades people from using their card. And it's going to go away. It's a fad.
Yeah.
It's a fad.
I kind of think it is too, and I get called on by people all the time. And
Sure.
It's a non-starter for me because it often means changing POS systems. And
yeah, that's why. Yeah, trust me, I get it.
Yeah, I just did the POS transition to Toast about a year ago.
I would love to do your credit card processing. I would hate to convert your point of sale system.
Yeah,
I'm a sales rep.
Yeah,
so
it's like
trust me.
Well, and that's Toast sells the credit card process. That's part of the deal. That's
for sure.
It goes.
Yeah.
But that data. You got to watch those statements. If you're not careful, all of a sudden your credit card processing creeps up and you don't know it.
That's crazy to me too. We've never changed the rate of our client ever. We never. Yeah. It's there's no contract with us, and your rate stays the same forever.
Yeah, it's happened to us, but not with Toast. But we have seen.
I think Toast is
ones.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Toast knows that they have a fucking cornering grip death hold on the industry right now if they just keep doing good things and stay out of bad press.
Yeah.
They will do a really good job. If they can avoid a data breach or a something like that for 3 or 4 years, they'll be the go-to in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And then they'll start letting people like me sell it. They really will.
There you go.
Then they'll say, oh, the credit card processing is not quite as important to me anymore.
There's probably a master plan over there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. They'll exit to Fiserv or something like that for $10 billion.
Yeah, that's not even a real number.
Yeah, it's I don't know how it fits on one line of paper. It's insane.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't fit on the box on a check. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's funny. You see where that conversation went? It's like that's me. That's what I do. It's like that's the part of the business that you can't expect a bartender to do.
What's next though for you?
Taptown's pretty high on my list. That's an 8,500 square foot building.
God damn.
Yeah.
Where?
It's right across from 1885 in Ackworth.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember you telling me that.
It's been stuck in the mud for a few years.
Building's massive.
Well, I'm not sure. Go to tap.town and you'll see the newest renderings. It's the original building.
Pull that up really quick.
Yeah.
I want to see it over here, if you don't mind.
The original building was actually bigger. And so, so that project started. I just got involved in November.
Really?
And before that,
it's over here.
They had they ran and they
Tap.town.
Tap.town. Yeah. Really good guys started that place. There's the new building.
Oh my god,
this is gonna be sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Great guys involved with me, and I got 2 partners there, and the other 2 partners that are in there with me are some of the original partners. There was one partner that stepped away, and that was the delay.
That's a good way to be about it, though, because they're already like invested emotionally in it. You know?
Yeah. Well, there's an SBA loan on the table.
Oh.
So it's the project got held up because one of the partners realized that it really wasn't for him, and he asked to pause the deal while they brought in a new partner, and it took a little while to figure that out. But I came on in November, and because I'm an operator.
Yeah.
I'm not a designer. Scroll down, you'll see some of the interior stuff. That's the backside. That's the side that's facing 1808.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's the main entrance over it. Close that thing on the right there. I just had to throw something up for a presentation one day. But so it's 60 taps, a self-serve system.
Oh, like the kind of like
Red Top. Yeah. A little different. We don't brew beer. And we're more about the outdoor experience. We're right there on the park.
Yeah.
But it's a match. So this is pretty high on my list right now. And then we have kind of another group of businesses that we work with.
Did you tap into your graphic design
I didn't make any of this.
Oh, really?
I didn't make a single thing.
Are you still like that in the graphic design?
I do.
world?
I like it. Sometimes it's my worst enemy. Like when I'm like, because I'm like, I'll just do that myself. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't have time for that. See, that's what I'm saying. I can't cook and I can't bartend, so I don't have that option over there.
Yeah.
But you told me this crap, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to waste a Thursday, making a picture. Yeah. So it's more about like the, a quick where you can come in, grab something, grab a beer, walk right out to the park.
Does the park abide by the open?
Yeah, that whole area
walk
there.
around in your beer law?
Aqua's done a really good job with that stuff. That whole downtown area is open container.
I think it was necessary. Henry was a big advocate for that.
Henry's done a great job with Ackworth.
Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Henry fan.
Yeah.
He's not so bad.
Yeah, so it's a fun place. Upstairs, downstairs. It's got a full bar in it. It's got a coffee shop that opens up in the morning. So it's it's about an 18-hour-a-day operation.
Damn.
It's a beast.
Yeah,
so
this is gonna be cool. Food as well, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Similar to not barbecue.
I would call it. I'd call it more like the fun carnival food truck kind of food. Like we're working on some crazy corn dogs,
Yeah.
and good cheeseburgers, things like that. We've got some things we might do with naan. That bread, the Indian bread. We might do that. Make that in house.
Nice.
And then of course we're gonna have Apotheos Coffee there, which that's the roastery that's there in Kennesaw.
Yeah.
And baked goods from Gabriel's, which is in Marietta. And
Cool.
so it's meant to be. This sums it up: eat, drink, and gather. That's
Yeah.
really what the place is for. It's a hub. We want to make. You asked me what's next. My dream of dreams is Asheville South.
Really?
I want this whole, Smyrna, Kennesaw, Ackworth, Woodstock, maybe even all the way up into Canton. I want us to be just this destination where people want to go to see makers, to see shows, to just have that experience and have that kind of weird yet all-inclusive vibe everywhere you go. And that's where I want this whole region to get to.
Sure.
I'm probably not going to see that. My son might.
Yeah.
My son might.
You'd be surprised.
So you
Moves
mentioned
a little faster every year, I feel.
yeah, and you mentioned competition in the restaurant industry earlier, and yes, competition's a thing, but like for me, I want as many places to open in this region as possible.
Just commerce.
Just bring people in. But
money in general.
Yeah, we need more attractions that aren't food and beverage.
Yeah.
I think we're struggling there a little bit.
Ferris wheel in the park.
Yeah. Well, they're building the amphitheater in Kennesaw.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's that's moving along. That should be open soon. But it's like we just need more support like that. In Kennesaw, you and I may have talked about it. They've spent so much time supporting the school.
Yeah.
Which they needed to do. But
I mean, the school's going to end up making the area a lot of money, and it'll eventually turn into other things. But I think they've got so invested in spending so much money on the school, they're not slowing down.
it's huge revenue.
I mean,
huge. It's big money.
They've already spent the next $100 million they're going to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, school just started yesterday. And they made $20 million.
Yeah.
So.
So this is next. Who knows? I sometimes I say that I'm just a shit stepper at this point. It's like it's just I'll see what comes up and see where it is and see where we can find the money to do it and just kind of see what's going to happen next go around. And we're entering what's the winter. The colder fall and winter is challenging for the Nest.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're trying to prepare ourselves for that a little bit better every year.
Well, I appreciate you coming, my friend. I really do appreciate you coming in and talking about this in general because I know the Nest is a big part of downtown Kennesaw. I know it means a lot to the people there. We've been there a bunch of times, and it's a really, really cool place. So it was interesting to have the conversation with you and just kind of see how it works in your mind. And I look forward to to experiencing all the experiences you keep putting out there into the world, man.
Next time we do this, let's do it on site over there.
Let's do it. I have some ideas for our other podcast too. I'm going to run by you after we get off camera, but
All
I
right.
think we can do some cool stuff. Thank you for coming, my friend.
Man, thanks for having me.
It means a lot. Cool. Yeah, you're good.
Now you got to edit out all the bullshit.